Elden Ring, the open-world Souls game that was finally playable over the weekend in these really painfully short stints of like 3 hours at set times. The network test gave us a chance to explore a small section of the game, putting up barriers around the edge of the area we were allowed to explore. Inside of that, we got to test the new combat, the world design, the many quality of life improvements, and honestly, a main chunk of the game and what we can expect in the full release. Today, I want to talk about my thoughts about Elden Ring, the whole is it just Dark Souls 3.5 debate, and the difficulty when we consider the crazy power of the Summon and Ashes of War abilities. It's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to try keep it as concise as possible, but please pray for me. Alright, my online alias is Hollow. I'm a big From Software fan. I played the original Demon's Souls not knowing what I was in for on a friend's PlayStation when I was much younger. Dark Souls 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. Games like Bloodborne and Sekiro stand out as an incredible work of art, with their worlds and the reveals and shifts in those stories. I've made content of all kinds for all of the From Software games for years, so basically I'm saying all of this so you understand that I love and respect this series of games. Before I go on to say what I'm about to say, I was disappointed by Elden Ring conceptually. The end of the Souls series in Dark Souls 3 was a fantastic end to a journey that's probably going to stick with me for the rest of my life. I know that sounds dramatic to say about a video game series, but look, these games, their stories, their worlds, I think it's art, and I think art is really important to us. When we were told that Dark Souls 3 is the last of the Dark Souls series, I was happy. Dark Souls 1 was a brilliant improvement on the foundation of Demon's Souls. Dark Souls 2 had its ups and downs, but overall I thought it was a great game. While Dark Souls 3 was the peak of it all, that medieval action combat RPG that From Software had basically been building up for years. We had something really fun to play, super well made, and it really achieved everything it set out to do. When From Software creates something new that's not shackled by a series it's continuing, I think they do incredible things. And as it turns out, Elden Ring is a very familiar looking game, in which you've got combat that will remind you very much of Dark Souls 3, and similar beats like, hey, you've got a Maiden type lady who you're going to use to level up. What's the big difference this time? Well, it's open world. And I'm not a fan of the open world formula at this point, where it's a big area to wander around and things to do inside of it. What actually that turns out to be is clear generic outpost 403, defeat special enemy that's exactly the same as the last 9 special enemies, solve a puzzle or climb over a thing. So basically, it's a massive, mostly empty region to go do the same few 5 or 4 things in different places. I think that's the bottom of the barrel of open world design. Of course, there are better versions of it, but that's the worst of it in my opinion. So when I say Elden Ring looked and sounded like maybe Dark Souls 3.5 on a big map, I hope you can understand why that concept disappointed me, especially when I was expecting something much more unique. However, I did remain hopeful, believing that if anyone could make open world feel fresh and special, if anyone wasn't going to do generic formula open world, well, it's going to be From Software. It's been 6 years since Dark Souls 3, the Souls game I had the most fun playing online with friends, doing silly challenges, PvP, making dumb videos like the Me6 Gank Squad. And if you're telling me I'm going to get all of that back, but then in a better open setting with better combat, I don't mind that it's not totally new if it's good and fun. So the network test begins and we finally get to play Elden Ring. And let me tell you, it was so good. Where to begin when talking about this? I could talk about it for days. Let me just talk about the open world aspect specifically then, since that's the thing I was most unsure about. The special thing about an open world game in concept is that question. Can I go over there? It's so far away, there's no way I can. And then you can. That first happened to me in Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and I'll always love that game because of it. It blew my mind that there wasn't a loading screen or like a separated area. I could just go to that mountain in the distance. These days, there's been so many open world games now that concept of, can I go over there? It's not as special. So what makes a good open world game today? I would say it's the new question. Do I want to go over there? You see, the moment you lose interest in exploration is probably the moment the game loses its reason to even be open world. So how do you keep your player wanting to explore. I'm no game designer, but my best guess would to be keep it novel. You know, if I'm always looking over at something in the distance and I don't know what to expect when I go over there, I think that's the key. Elden Ring does keep me uncertain and it does keep me curious. And that's why I think it's a good open world. In just this tiny section of the game, every experience was a new one. I step out the tutorial into the world and you get that classic view of everything around you, places I can go, and the excitement of that freedom. But which way will I go? Probably straight to the Golden Knight on the horse right in front of you. Let's go fight him. Because yeah, they throw a boss at you the moment you step out the tutorial, and he's not a joke. He moves away from you during an attack. He crushes you with huge damage. He blocks your direct spells and reflects them. He'll bash you or smash the ground, blowing you away. He's obviously meant to be a challenge you're not ready for at this point, and he's exactly that. It would be much wiser to go explore elsewhere, gain some power, get your horse unlocked, and then fight him on horseback. Not me though, I'm stubborn as hell. After like 10 deaths, I wised up and started punishing every attack that left him vulnerable to my lightning strike. I would always move to his shield side, away from the weapon. I was learning which attacks I can punish, which were unsafe, and then I'd still die to his BS of a jump slam. But then I eventually killed him with good measured gameplay, and it felt great, like overcoming a challenge, just like Dark Souls and all the other great From Software games. What's next then? Well, the chapel behind the Tree Guardian has a friendly merchant and an anvil we can use to upgrade our weapons. We can buy weapons to try entirely new weapon arts, the new summon spells, and there's crafting materials and recipes. Beyond this is a small forest with soldiers patrolling, and on the wall of that forest is a creepy cave. If we go in and work our way through that darkness, we'll eventually fight a beast man in a tight, tense area. Thankfully, because he's humanoid, we can parry and backstab him, which obviously really helps. In here is a new flask type for the series, the Wondrous Physic, which allows us to combine potions to create new flasks. Like, for example, one that can blow us up when we drink it. Beyond this forest, though, is an outpost of sorts, guarded by some knights. They're patrolling the structure in various ways, and there's a horn holder in the middle who's going to sound the alarm if you're spotted. That forces you to take on over 10 enemies at once in melee combat, which is a challenge that may prove too much. So you might want to stealth and quietly kill the guards until it's all manageable. Or, you know, just fight them all at once like a badass. You know, I'm not saying I did that, but maybe I did. There's a monument here that will provide you with a map of the area that we're playing in, so we can see where we are and where we can go. The bonfire here, Grace here, provides a special cutscene in which we meet our maiden. Wait, no, they are called maidens in this one. Now we can level up with our souls, our runes, and unlock Torrent, the wonderful mount we use to travel the land with greater ease. Since it can move much faster than us and even double jump, we're able to get to those distant places quicker and do some serious mountain goat climbing, which is really fun. Using that mount, we can continue uphill to the castle, where we're ambushed by a giant and a wall of soldiers are raining arrows on us. In a totally fair and valid honorable way, we defeat that giant and punish the jerk soldiers who are shooting at us. We press on up the hill and work our way to the castle. This wall of soldiers is trying to stop us getting in, and there's even a ballista firing explosive shots at us. Beyond that, inside the gatehouse, is the other side, where we encounter a beautiful castle with these gilded walls of gold that outline its pretty impressive size. But the path ahead is barred by the main boss of the network test. That is Margit the Fell, who's not going to let us pass. So far, every event and encounter that I've mentioned, every secret discovered, has been completely different from one another. A new experience. But this is essentially the main path you're meant to take, and it feels very similar to, you know, the rest of the Souls series. What if we stop following that path and go explore the open world? This time, I start from the beginning and go east, away from the castle, and I see this large lake. In that lake, there's this huge gathering at some sort of fire. Yeah, a surprise boss fight with a dragon, which is far from easy, but thankfully, hey, look, dragons are weak to lightning. Further east of this lake, though, is a horde of souls that are transporting something, dragged forward by these two chained giants. If we manage to defeat this massive amount of enemies, stop the giants, we can then loot the chest that they are transporting, which has this heavy armor set and an awesome greatsword, which just so happens to have this incredible looking sword Ash of War. Down the road they were following, and just to the right, is this ditch. And inside of that, eventually you'll find a secret door that leads into a catacomb. There's small stone men that are trying to ambush you and overwhelm you, traps that unleash fire arrows. It really reminds me of like a Bloodborne chalice dungeon. And it eventually leads to the Grave Warden, a large fellow with 2 hammers attached to chains. And using that new Ash of War attack with the great sword, I'm able to smash this strong man who's actually trying to crush us himself. Nearby, there's a small outpost that has a secret entrance that you can only enter by using the terrain and getting above, using the new jumping and mobility to get up there. In there, there's this nightmarish pumpkin head boss fight. If we choose not to go east and go west, there's a whole beach and an island beyond that beach that looks like it's got some sort of structure on it. There is a secret way to get there in this test, but first, you know, we got to see if we can swim there. Nope, we still just fall through the floor. When I actually found my way to the island, I didn't expect to end up there. It was a surprise when I came out and found myself there. Elden Ring nails open world in a way that really respects the player and their intelligence, I think. There's a mystery around every corner, at least it feels like, and that's the point. They trust you to do the work and find the way. This is more than just big Dark Souls. It feels like perfect open world design. Now we've concluded that aspect of the game, let's actually talk about the gameplay, because there's this big discussion going on right now. Is this just Dark Souls 3.5 or Dark Souls 4 under a new name? And honestly, I can see why people are saying this. It isn't the same kind of new innovation that Sekiro had with like posture systems, or the trade encouraged combat of the rally mechanic in Bloodborne. This is Dark Souls 3 combat with new details. The weapon arts are back, but they're now called Ash of War. They're more magical and impactful. You can even customize the weapon you're using to have different weapon arts depending on what you like and want. That beautiful mechanic from Dark Souls 2, the power stance, that's back. It gives you the ability to use 2 weapons at once with new special combos and attacks that use both weapons at once, even when plunge attacking, roll attacking, or dash attacking. I mean, you cast spells in a similar way, you block and parry in a similar way, you backstab in a similar way. It goes on and on, Dark Souls 3 combat at its core. But with all of these enhancements and subtle changes that do actually change the meta of how you approach the combat, even in PvE. There's the new guard counter system that changes the way shield users are going to work, where when you're blocking, you can now retaliate with a follow-up heavy, breaking the posture of an enemy for a critical hit. You can even break the posture of an enemy now by doing a jump attack or a charged heavy. Spells and abilities can be cast quickly, sure, but now you can charge them up for better and new effects. The horse combat lets us fight on either side of the horse, or gives us new special charged heavies depending on what weapon you're using. Like the lance and greatsword can hold the charge and continuously hit. Your basic combo has changed for every weapon. Instead of spamming R1 and doing a 1-2 hit, 1-2 hit over and over, there's a new 4 or 5 hit combo for every weapon. And yeah, now you can stealth around for quick backstabs on enemies, so you'd have to slow walk up to them. It is Dark Souls 3's combat core, but improved and changed in many ways, taking what was a really fun combat system and makes it better. Calling this Dark Souls 3.5 or Dark Souls 4 combat isn't entirely unfair. It is the same thing but improved, but I think this is the peak form of that combat, and that's far from a bad thing. Lastly then, a short talk on difficulty. I don't know how much this topic has been discussed yet, but I think there's an argument to be said that magic might be too strong in this game. I want you to watch a short clip and tell me if this seems balanced to you. That was the main boss of the network test. He's meant to be pretty hard, but I used a summon which can only be used in certain areas, the wolves. They distract targets and do some okay damage. While that was happening, I just spammed my Ash of War attack, the lightning strike, from safety for a massive amount of damage. By the time I actually had to, fight the boss, he was basically dead. And this build has nothing to do with magic, dude. Like, I have no points in faith or sorcery. This is just a summon anyone can do and a weapon art attached to my sword anyone can do. I think it's awesome that magic is making a huge comeback in Elden Ring and more people have access to it. It's been neglected since the original Demon Souls, which, yeah, it was way too strong there. The question is it too strong? I think the summons are nuts, but they are balanced by the fact that you can't use them everywhere, only in set places. And the weapon arts, aka Ashes of War, as they're called in this, they give you tons of utility as, say, my non-magic user has a way to actually cast some kind of spell. It's fun, it works well. It just feels like a little bit close to cheesing an enemy to me right now. I'm wondering if these values will be changed in the full release, or maybe if we actually need these incredibly strong tools for the full game, where, you know, enemies and bosses are going to be so challenging that without these abilities, without these tools, we'd have no chance. So yeah, it seems overtuned in this test right now, but maybe From Software knows something we don't. Maybe it's just, hey, we're in the starting area. I don't know. But in any case, I think that's what I'll restrict myself to talking about today. I know that was a lot. Trust me, it was nowhere near everything I wanted to talk about. So I might come back with another video all about the bosses. I actually went and defeated all of them in the test, and they have some really cool designs and a wide variety to the way they work. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like and let me know what you're thinking about these topics today in the comments. But please remember to keep it civil. Personally, I love From Software. I respect their work. It's just that I want to talk about this stuff because I care about it, not because I want to spread any negativity. Until next time then, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.